children, how are you? I hope you all are doing well and studying well. So children, as you know, science covers up everything, okay, about the nature and things around us, isn't it? So here in this chapter, we are going to talk about sun, light and shadow. Okay, sun plays a major role in our life, isn't it? Because it gives us brightness, it brings in day, it gives us heat, light, energy. Okay, so we are going to talk about the sun, we are going to talk about light and shadow, and we are going to talk about the length of the shadow. Okay, so now let's relate. Why do we feel cool during cloudy days? On a cloudy day, we see clouds in the sky. The sun rays do not reach us, so we do not feel the heat of the sun. Let's have a look on some more information about the sun and the moon. So sun plays a very important role in our life. Alright, so let's talk about the sun first. The sun is very big, it is very hot, it is like a huge ball of fire, it is very far from us. So it looks small, it shines during the daytime and it gives us heat and light. Okay, the sun makes the earth warm and bright. When the sun rises, we say it is morning time. When it sets, it is evening time. The sun also helps the wet clothes to become dry. So sun plays a major role in our life. Our life starts, our day begins with the sun rising. Okay, and what all things it gives to us? It gives us light, it gives us lot of brightness, warmth, okay, it gives us heat, and when it sets down, okay, in the evening, it gets darker and cooler again. Okay, now the sun also helps the wet clothes to become dry. It heats up the water of the sea, ponds and river. It also helps the plants to grow. So this heat of the sun also helps in the formation of the clouds, okay, through the water vapor that we've already seen in the water cycle, and in the formation of rain also. So sun is a very vital element of our life, very important element of our life. Okay, it also helps the plants to grow. Plants prepare their food in the presence of sunlight. Okay, now let's talk about light and shadow. What will happen if there will be no light around us? It will become dark. We will not be able to see anything in the dark. When light cannot pass through an object, a shadow is formed on the opposite side of the light. Okay, imagine life without light. It will be so dark. Okay, when the sun is there, we don't even need to turn on any lights. Okay, if we are in an open area, because the light of the sun is sufficient. But in darker areas and all, we need light. Okay, and light plays a very important role as well. Okay, what will happen if there is no light? It will become dark. Okay, and we will not be able to see anything. So when the light is not able to pass through something, okay, then a shadow gets formed, okay, in the opposite direction. So the shadow moves when we move. A shadow is not formed in darkness. So a shadow needs some light to form. Okay, so with the help of some light, shadow is able to form. So like when you're walking, okay, if the sun is on your opposite side, okay, in front of you, and you're walking, you'll see that the shadow, your shadow falls on behind you. Okay, so that's when you are obstructing in between. That is the reason why the shadow falls behind. Okay, now act on. Whose shadows are these? Guess them. So now you have to guess whose shadows are these. Okay, now length of the shadow. Let's talk about the length of the shadow. Does the length of the shadow remain same? Do you think that the length is the same of the shadow? No, the length of the shadow is different at different times of the day. Okay, it is not always the same. If we see our shadow in the morning and evening, it will be longer. Okay, so our shadow which falls when we are obstructing the light, when we are coming in between the light, that means it is getting obstructed, and that shadow is longer. Okay, but during the noon time, when the sun is on top of our head, at that time our shadow is shorter. But why do the lengths of the shadow change? This is because of the position of the sun, which keeps on changing in the sky. Okay? So, children, I hope now you will observe your shadow and also try to make shadows on the wall with the help of the light. Okay? It's fun to play this game also. Now, gist of the chapter. The sun is like a ball of fire. It keeps the earth warm and bright. A shadow is formed when the light does not pass. The length of the shadow is longer in the morning and shorter at the noon time. So, term back. Sun. What is sun? A big ball of fire. Okay. Shadow. It is formed when light cannot pass through an object. Okay. Darkness is when there is no light at all. Position means a particular point where the object is. That is the position. Alright, now time to evaluate. A. Take the correct option. The sun makes the earth warm, bright, or both of these? Both of these. The shadow is not formed in light, darkness, or room. In darkness. The length of the shadow does not remain different, same, or both of these? Same. Now, which of these is not correct about shadow? Shadow remains same in length. Do you think? No, the shadow length changes, okay, depending on the time of the day. So, in the mornings and evenings it is longer and during the noons it is shorter. So, this is not correct about shadow. Shadow is not formed in darkness. This is true. When it is dark, the shadow cannot be formed, okay. Shadow speaks. Do you think the shadow speaks? No, it does not. Alright. So, these two statements are wrong, A and C. Now, fill in the blanks with correct word. The sun makes the earth warm and light or bright? Bright. The sun helps the wet clothes to become more wet or dry? Dry. The sun also helps the dash to grow. Child or plants? Plants. When light cannot pass through an object, a dash is formed. What is formed? A shadow is formed. Okay. Match the following columns. The sun rises in the east. The sun sets in the west. The sun gives light and heat. Shadow is shortest at noon and shadow is longest in the morning. Alright. Now, you have to write 3 lines about shadow. Okay. You can say the shadow is long during the mornings and during the evenings. Shadow is shorter during the noon, okay, and shadow is formed when something obstructs the light. Alright, now, and it cannot be formed in darkness. Alright, write T for true and F for false statements. The sun is like a huge ball of water. False. It's a ball of fire. The sun helps the plants to grow. Yes. A shadow is formed on the opposite side of the light. True. The length of the shadow is always the same. False. The shadow becomes shorter at noon. True. Okay. Answer the following questions. Okay. Why does the sun look small to us? Because the sun is really far away from us and that is the reason why it looks small to us. What happens when the sun rises and it sets? When the sun rises, okay, morning comes, the day is bright and there is heat in the environment, in the atmosphere, and after it sets, the night comes, it becomes darker. Okay. Write 3 uses of the sun in our lives. Sun gives us heat, it gives us energy, it helps the plants to grow, it helps to dry the clothes. Okay. How is shadow formed? Shadow is formed when something obstructs the light. Okay. Why does the shadow change its length? The shadow changes its length depending on the position of the sun. As the position changes, the length of the shadow changes. Alright. Now, fun zone. Write the day words in the sun and the night words in the moon. Okay. Wake up, sun. Sleep, moon. Play, sun. Lunch, sun. Dinner, moon. Counting stars, moon. Okay. Field activity. Observe the following and try to make shadow animals as shown below. So, now you know where you have to keep the light, and then when you keep the light and you obstruct the light, you will see that the shadow is falling on the wall. Okay. Try doing this. Alright. Now, Life skills and values. We should use light and heat of the sun whenever possible. This way we can save a lot of electricity. Work in pairs and write yes or no. In the daytime, we should switch off the lights. Yes. On cold days, we may sit in the sunlight instead of using heaters. True. If possible, we can ask our parents to use a solar cooker to cook food. Yes. Hustle and bustle. The length of a shadow changes at different times during the day. Stand outside in the sun at different times, morning, noon and evening. The place where you stand should be the same at all times. Ask an elder or a friend to mark or trace your shadow. Also note down the position of the sun when your shadow is being marked. Alright, so try to play this shadow game. But before you start playing these games and making shadows, it's time to reread this chapter and complete the exercises quickly. So get going.